So here we're going to continue to talk about factoring. Remember that factoring has kind of its own order of operations. So you should always have checked for GCF first, then for special products. It's not chart factorable in this video because we have this a in front of the x squared. The chart factoring is for when a is 1. So here we are saying that a is not equal to 1 because if it were, we would chart factor instead of using guess and check. So it's not a plain old a, it's some number in front of that x squared. So I've got these steps typed out for you, so you don't need to write those. Those should be on your printout. And we're going to go through each of these 3 examples, kind of walking through what these steps mean. So first I check for GCF. This one does not have 1/17 prime, so I know it's not divisible by anything but itself in 1. And there is no variable GCF, so we know it's not that. I check for special products. My third term is not positive, so I know it can't be a PST. I know it can't be a difference of squares because it's a trinomial. So we've checked everything. There's an a in front. We're going to now try the guess and check because we know it's not the earlier types. So first thing we do once we know it's guess and check is we make a tree of the factor pairs for a, which is your leading coefficient. I want you to make these trees starting with 1 and working your way up. So 1 times 42, then 2. 42 divided by 2 is 21. So then you see, is 42 divisible by 3? I believe it is. I check, and yes, it is. It's 3 and 14. 42 divided by 4 should not be divisible by, but you can always check it. Nope, doesn't come out evenly, so we skip that one. We know it's not divisible by 5 because it doesn't end in 5 or 0. So then we try 6. 42 divided by 6, yes, it's 6 times 7. Now, I know I'm done because the next number in this list would be 7, and I've already got that on the other side. So I'm done with step 1. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my constant. Be careful though, because my constant is a negative, so that means I have to list really each factor pair twice, because it could be 1 and negative 15, or it could be negative 1 and positive 15. It's not divisible by 2. It is divisible by 3, but it could be 3 times negative 5, or it could be negative 3 times positive 5. It's not divisible by 4, and 5 I'm already at the other side. So step 2 is now done. So when we go to guess and check, the guess part is using this form always. We're going to have numbers in front of the x, which come from this guy, and then we're going to have numbers behind the x, which are going to come from these factor pairs. So when I go to make my guess, I make the 2 parentheses. I know I've got x's. That's the given part. Now I'm going to make my guess. Now, sometimes you may just be able to tell just because you can kind of FOIL or multiply in your head and you know what's going to work. If you do, that's great. Try that first. If you have no idea, my first suggestion is to always start with the factors that are closer together. Just because, having done this for a very long time, I know that a higher percentage of the time, those are the answers. It doesn't mean always, but they're a higher percentage. So if you have no idea what you should try first, I would start with the 6 and the 7. So I'm going to do 6x, 7x. Then I guess for my back pairs, and again, I'm going to start with the ones that are closer together. So rather than the 1 and 15, I'm going to start with a 3 and a 5 combo. Now, excuse me, when I do this, I cannot fill a parenthesis in where that parenthesis would have a common factor. So if I'm going to try 3 and 5, I know that I can't put the 3 with the 6 because 3 and 6 have a common factor. So I'm going to start with the negative 3 and the 5, but I can't put the negative 3 here, so I'm going to try it here, which means that this becomes the positive 5. So I have made a guess. Now, strongly suggest that you do these in pencil because obviously if it doesn't work out, you want to be able to erase. I can't erase on this software, so if it doesn't work, I just cross it out and try again. So I have guessed. Now step 4 is to check. The way that you check is by doing the OI part of FOIL and seeing if it gives you what you need for your middle coefficient. So just the O and the I. So the O outsides, 6x times -3 is -18x. The I for insides, 5 times 7x is 35x. I combine those like terms. 35x plus -18x is positive 17x. So I check my middle term. I'm supposed to have -17x. So this isn't right. However, because I got the right number but the wrong sign, it means that I've got the right numbers in the places. I just need to switch the signs on these guys. So that means that it needs to be 6x minus 5 times 7x plus 3. If you check that, that's positive 18, negative 35, which does give you that -17 in the middle. So if we FOIL this whole thing out, it would give us back our original, so we know we factored it correctly. Okay, now we're going to look at the next one. Again, check for GCF. Again, 11's prime, there isn't a GCF. Check for special products. It can't be a difference of squares because there's 3 terms. This can't be a PST because 6 does not have a perfect square root. So that's how I know that I'm going to be using this method here. So 4 could be 1 times 4 or 2 times 2. 6, this is positive and this is positive, so I'm looking for all positives. So 1 times 6, 2 times 3 are the only factors there. So then I'm ready to guess. So I'm going to try 2x, 2x. I know for sure that I cannot do a 2 and a 3 in here because they would have a common factor. So I would do 1 and 6, but if I put the 1 here, I'm going to have a 6 here, which means that I would have a common factor no matter what. No matter what, if I choose the 2 and 2, I'm going to have a GCF. So before I even get to the big check step, I know that that can't be right. So then I'm going to try the 1x, which is just x, with 4x. So going back here, if I want to try the 2 and the 3, it would need to be a +2 here and a +3 here, which when I check, outsides give me 3x, insides give me 8x. 8x plus 3x is 11x, which that's what I need. So x plus 2 times 4x plus 3 is my answer. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try C all on your own. So pause the video and then come back when you're done and you can check it with mine. Okay, so here is your correct answer. Should be x minus 1 times 3x minus 2. This one was easier than the others. Notice that bigger numbers have more work, but the smaller numbers, because 3 and 2 are both prime, that makes it only one set of factors. So the only thing I had to decide was whether to put the -1 with the 3x or the -1 with the x. And I kind of mentally guessed and checked there. I don't know if you could see as I was moving to make sure that that worked, but that gives me -3x minus 2x, which is -5x. So I know that this one is finished. Hopefully that makes sense and you are ready for your practice.